afternoon everyone. I thought I'd come on and make something for you, and today I'm going to make something simple, which is my raw cacao balls. So I got some raw cacao here, and if you're wondering what it is, it's basically just like cocoa powder. Now cocoa powder, which I also have here, is where they roast the cacao beans to make the cocoa powder, and raw cacao is where they simply cold press the beans, so it's better for you, because some of the nutrients in the cacao is lost when they roast the beans, which is the same as with some vegetables. It's much better for you when it's eaten raw. So I'm going to use some of this. Now a few other things that go into my balls is some dates. So I've just got pitted dates, and I've got about 8, and I'll cut them up into small pieces. Now they're just 2 regular pitted dates. So I cover them with just enough boiling water so the top of them is covered. And then it takes about 1 to 2 minutes to soak those, and then I'll drain them. And with my other dried fruits, I've got about 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of dried cranberries and dried blueberries. Now they're not as hard as the dates, so I've covered them with some boiling water and left them for about 30 seconds before draining them. I've got some almonds and cashews here that I've roughly chopped. Now you can roast your nuts if you like, but I'm just going to use them like this. And normally I'd use some LSA, which is a blend of linseeds, sunflower seeds and almonds crushed, so it sort of resembles almond meal, but I haven't got any today, so I'm using the desiccated coconut. Now usually when I make this I use a coconut oil. I haven't got any of that today, but I am going to try, see how they go with this walnut oil, so hopefully that will be good. Now to make these you need a processor, so you could probably make these in a bowl. I have actually tried that once. It didn't go too well. You'd have to really well chop up all your dried fruits and your nuts, so it's much better if you can do this in a blender, or processor I should say. Blender you could use, processor is the best. So for my coconut I'm going to do 3 tablespoons, and I've got extra here because I also want to roll these in the coconut. As for the nuts, there's about 3 tablespoons in there, and I'm going to put them all in. All the dried cranberries and blueberries will go in, and all of the dates. So again, that's about 1.5 tablespoons of the cranberries and blueberries, and about 8 of the dates chopped. If the dates are kind of small, you could use a couple extra. If they're quite large, use a couple less. If you've got them, you can also use some medjool dates. They're quite soft and squishy, so they don't need to be soaked at all. So you can just pop them straight in, and you probably only need about 1 or 2 of those. Now this raw cacao is actually a blend, so it's got 70% organic cacao, it's got some organic maca powder in it and some organic cinnamon, so it's actually really good for you, and there's only 46 calories per serve. It's not too bad. Now we want to put in 3 tablespoons of this, as we want this to have quite a nice chocolatey taste. Now the other thing we need is the walnut oil. Now what the walnut oil does, the walnut oil, it will ensure that the balls will solidify and stay together when we put them into the fridge. So just, mine's a dessert spoon, so I might use a little bit extra. So about 1 tablespoon of that goes in. Now we're also going to need something else to sweeten it with. So you can just use the dates because they are quite sweet and that dried fruit. I'm going to grab something from the cupboard to sweeten that up. So normally I would use a bit of honey or some maple syrup, but today I'm going to use some light golden syrup. So I'm just going to start with about a tablespoon, dessert spoon really, that's probably going to be enough, and that will add just a little bit of extra sweetness. Now to make these we just want to turn on the lid, put on the lid, turn it on, and blend it up. Now, the trick with this is it's got to be clicked into place or it's not going to work. So that should be ready to go. We just want to give it a few pulses, and then we just need to scrape down the sides and put the lid back on and let it go around again. Just want to make sure everything's mixed together, and those nuts and fruits are really well chopped. A little bit of problem getting around. just keep mixing. It's starting to work, but I'll just show you how it looks. So as you can see, it's starting to come together really well, but I can see that there's still some big chunks of nuts in there. So probably recommend to cut your nuts up a little bit finer before you put them in if you haven't got a good processor. This one's usually pretty good. Perhaps this mixture's a little dry. So let's just try it one more time. So that's looking pretty good. So I'm actually going to take that out now. And I'm just going to transfer this mixture to a bowl to make it easier to grab it for rolling out. So into the bowl it goes. Make sure not to waste any of that. And then I'm going to use our hands. Now I just roughly roll these together. You can get a bit of glad wrap, put it on the scales and weigh them. Trying to think of the word there. But I just sort of worked them out myself. Then you drop them into your coconut, and if you just shake the bowl like this, you'll see that it just perfectly coats the mixture. You don't have to worry about rolling it around yourself and getting any other chocolate on the outside. You just want to gently touch it, pick it up, put it on the plate. Now I just sort of measure them next to each other and say, okay, that's about the same size. So I just roll that out. Now this will probably make, I'd say about 8, probably double or triple the mixture depending on what you're making them for. I just make them for a little snack to have every now and then. Yep, looking good. See, once you get good at it, you pretty much know how much is the same size, and you roll them all perfectly. So it takes practice, but yeah, it's pretty good once you get there and they look perfect. Just do one more. Now these will need to go in the fridge to solidify for, I'd say, at least 5 to 10 minutes. I'll just come back and taste these later, but this is how they look. Delicious. So I'm going to go roll the rest of these out, put them into the fridge, and I'll come back later and tell you how they taste. Alright, so these are set in the fridge, and it's actually made about 6 and 1 little one. So if you're wanting to make this for a few people, you probably want to double the recipe. So they're looking pretty good. They could be a little firmer. They've been in about 10 minutes. But I just couldn't wait to try one. Wanted to have a taste and let's see what I think. Not too sweet. I like things that are really sweet. This is probably not for you. You can definitely taste the cacao and the dates and the dried fruits. Yeah, it's very good. That squeaky you can hear in the background is my guinea pigs. They're inside at the moment. Very hot outside. Yeah, so anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this recipe, give it a go. Please let me know what you think when you try it. Thank you.